Welcome everyone to this special edition of Top Stories here on ProBox TV. I am George DeMatteis. Now, today on Top Stories, we're going to talk about this situation with Claressa Shields and some of the controversy arising because a short video clip was released last week from 2018 showing a former pro fighter, Artur Amatovs, knocking down Claressa Shields in training for a world title fight. Now, Amatovs released the video on his Instagram page in response to some comments made by Claressa Shields. Shields responded to the video, accusing Amatovs and then his trainer, who we have now, Derik Santos, of removing the padding from the gloves, which is a very serious accusation. Shields claims that that Monday, she got the best of Amatovs in sparring. They sparred again on Thursday, and that's when the gloves were tampered, and that's when Shields got knocked down. That's the claim by Claressa Shields. Now, we are joined by the man who witnessed all of that, one of the great trainers in boxing, Derik Santos. Derik, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here on Top Stories. Before we get into the details of this story and what you see, what your background is and what you saw of the story, tell us a little bit about your career in boxing.
Well, I was an amateur fighter myself. I spent probably 12 years volunteering also for two different police athletic leagues. I was the type of guy that when I got into professional boxing, I wanted to know what everybody did. And, from being the bucket boy to the cut man to, an assistant to then being main assistant for some trainers, including being loyal assistant to John David Jackson, who was her coach for many years. And he was one of my mentors, to then my own stable and still then volunteering, because it was volunteer, it wasn't paid work, with young women and children in the police athletic leagues, and I've continued to do that until now.
So before we continue on, we want to let everybody know that to try to bring balance to the story, we did reach out to Claressa Shields' manager, Mark Taffet, and he declined our request to interview Claressa Shields for her side of this situation. All right, Derik, let's start with what happened here on that day in question in 2018. Or specifically with Amatovs releasing the video clip of him knocking down Shields. Why do you think he released the video 5 years after what happened?
Well, I was able to get in contact through people with him in Europe because that's where he lives. And I asked him why he did that. And his point was, Coach, I've been tired of hearing her talk trash over the years. And, champions should be honest. And he said the truth is on our side. And that was his statement. After that, she went on rambling in the Instagram social media, which, for a while I got involved in there, very respectfully going back and forth with her, and to the point where she said that she was going to get me fired from boxing, banned from boxing. So now she's committing defamation and has a malicious intent to ruin my good reputation in boxing and my career.
So they have accused you of removing padding from the gloves in that sparring session. How do you respond to those allegations?
No, padding is ridiculous. They're disgusting. It's absurd. It's criminal. It's unbelievable. Listen, fighters get knocked down in sparrings all the time, with men and women and whatnot. You can go through all my social media history. I've never posted one of those videos. I've never spoken badly about any fighters. Claressa Shields, for whatever reason, keeps bringing up that incident, even though nobody from our side ever brought that up. I don't think anybody from her side ever brought that up. Through the years, I've heard through a lot of fighters and other people that she just keeps bringing that up. And this is exactly what happened. In an interview, apparently she gave for Canelo and Charlo, she again brought that up. Not only did she bring it up, it was a blatant lie of how it happened, what happened. She's claiming that I got these doctored gloves from a gift from Roberto Duran. I've never met Roberto Duran in my life. I wish I did, because he's a great fighter. I've never met him before in my life. She's claiming, like you said, that she beat him up in the first sparring, and that's why this happened. I actually have a round video from the first sparring where you could clearly see He grabbed a pair of Green Hill safety amateur boxing gloves in the first sparring, and you could clearly see him just working with her. It was good work. They were just working. He was working with her. You could see him clearly relaxed, right? In the second sparring, he's just wearing his normal sparring gloves. And no professional boxer, or even a boxer who's aspiring to be a professional boxer, is going to wear Green Hill safety amateur gloves when they spar. Those are exactly for that, for the amateurs and safety. It's a brand that was used in amateur boxing.
So clearly, if it's safety gloves, there's going to be a lot of padding in to protect the fighters,
Yeah,
obviously.
and he just wore regular 16-ounce gloves in the second sparring, which was a little more spirited than the first one. But again, I have a full round video of that, just that. Um, because it was sent to me the other day. The young man who we were talking about, I asked him, I said, why don't you just send me the whole thing? Because I don't have this video. And he said, I went on my iCloud coach and this is all that was on there. This happened 5 years ago. This is all that's on there. So he sent me the full round. Um, in there, clearly, you can see the gloves. In there, clearly, you can see the demeanor of sparring. In there, clearly, you can see all the people that are in the gym. In there, clearly, you can see me telling him, punch her to the body, this touch. You could see him backing off of her in the sparring at times. Mind you, they did go at each other at that point, and there was points where she threw hard at him, which is fine. I mean, like I said, I train women too.
Right.
It's common for women to have to spar men, but a good coach always tells the male or finds a male that knows how to work, So whatever chip she has on her shoulder about fighting a male and these different things, that's on her. That has nothing to do with me. I don't have never have had a relationship with her. But I definitely would never, not to a male fighter, not to a female fighter, do something as gross and as criminally dangerous as doing that, and basically she's out here trying to defame my name.
We are here on Top Stories on ProBox TV talking with longtime boxing trainer Derik Santos in regard to this situation with Claressa Shields. By the way, just another disclaimer, we want to let you know that we did reach out and try to talk to Claressa Shields through her manager, Mark Taffet, and they denied our request to interview Claressa Shields for this Top Stories. Now, Derik, back to you here. You mentioned that there was more video of the sparring session between Atamovs and Shields. Do you plan on releasing it for lack of a better term, the court of public opinion, or are you saving that for something else that might be in the works legally?
I'm going to save it for now.
Okay.
But I can guarantee you that if it was released, everybody would see what I'm talking about, not only with the first video, but with the second. And it would actually make her look as ridiculous as her accusations are. And I only say that, here's the thing. I've always respected her as a fighter, as a champion that she is, and I still do. So this is not a question of trying to discredit her as a fighter, or even a question of trying to embarrass somebody because they got dropped. This happens to fighters all the time.
Right.
I'm only here because she is maliciously taking intent to try to defame me. And this young man, I feel I had to stand up for him too. So that's the point of me being here. After the sparring, we were all in close proximity talking, and she was frustrated because she got dropped. And she's like, oh, I've never been dropped. And she said, let me see the gloves, right? Now, mind you, there's videos out there where she's saying that I hid the gloves in a bag. There's videos where she's saying that she grabbed him by the hand and walked him over to John David, and they saw that it was cheating. But then supposedly he then sparred Harold Calderon after. Like, if I caught a fighter cheating, I would never let him spar my other fighter. Not at that moment. It doesn't make any sense. So her story doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The gloves were ringside, on the other side of the ring. I said to John, go ahead, get the gloves are on the other side of the ring. He did. He looked at them. He saw that they were marked 16 ounce. I believe he also said that that it wasn't the gloves. It was just, you know, your head was up in the air. I would never do that, much less to him, who was a mentor and a person I worked for many years, and that, you know, I had many wonderful experiences with. So, you know, all of this is ridiculous. But I'm going to take it seriously. You know,
Yeah.
I have, like I said, I have screenshots of her. Wait till, you know, we see you and all that. You know, there's been unfortunate events that happened in the past with her career too, or around her career involving incidents with her. And so I'm taking all that seriously, you know, uh, when it comes to protecting myself, my livelihood, my health. You know, I am a coach, I am a father, I'm a grandfather. I am a person that I would dare anybody to find something said bad about me in the whole boxing world. And I just couldn't even believe. As a matter of fact, I even sent a message to Mr. Talford. I went and looked for his number, sent a message to Mr. Talford when this stuff was going on Instagram. And I said, hey, what is going on here? You know, I have that message, you know, can you talk to your fighter? Can you quiet this down? You know,
No answer.
apparently she decided that she thought she could falsely, it's okay in America to falsely slander somebody's name around the world. And it's around the world now because I've gotten questions from Russia, Ireland,
Mm.
Germany, England. My assistant coach got asked the other day, hey, don't you work with this guy? Is this true? Women's boxing, if you give me 1 second, please, bear with me.
Sure.
I
Take
need,
your
I need,
time.
I want to get this, I want to get this correct. I certainly do not want to say anything that is not truthful. Let's see here. Quote from Women's Fight News. Now, mind you, I've been an advocate for women's boxing my whole career. I've done actually interviews for Epic Women's of Sports and whatnot. I've always tagged women. So they posted, so a male fighter took padding out of his gloves to get revenge on Claressa sparring and knocked her down. And then she suffered her only knockdown in a fight within a week, which wasn't true.
Right.
This happened weeks before that fight, okay? Claressa never made any excuse or mention that he should be ashamed of himself. Now, Women's Fight News never bothered to even ask me
Your
for a
side.
quote or,
Yeah.
and this is, I'm sure, running rampant all over social media today, which is it's disgraceful, it's distasteful, and it's malicious intent against me.
Yeah. Certainly, we want to try to get some accountability here from the Shields camp.
Where's
And
people's credibility?
yeah.
I'm shocked and I'm stunned that there wasn't any credibility anywhere.
Right.
You know,
Well,
so this
yeah.
is why I've chosen to give you these interviews. And yes, I am considering legal action for defamation
Yeah.
of character.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. What action, if any, are you taking to the accusations of Shields? Because I meant to say accountability for the quote there on Twitter from that Twitter site. But what actions are you taking to deal with these accusations?
I've spoken to some legal attorneys already, you know, and I like I said, um, eh, you know, I haven't slept since this started really.
Mm.
You know, it's kind of crazy, you know, because I just kept thinking like, wow, I've worked so humbly hard for all these years to be a guy that kept his reputation clean, to never burn bridges anywhere with other coaches, other fighters, promotions, bike executives. And in this day and age, you know, it's scary when somebody takes to lying and slandering your name because that goes like brush fire and it went around the world, you know. Um, it hurt me,
Yeah.
you know, it hurt me as a human being. Um, my nerves were like, I can't believe this is happening. But then I had to, pray and just say, you know what, the truth is on my side. And I did what I had to do. I made the contacts to start the ball rolling on that. I also was smart enough to make sure that, you know, I had my proof and the copies of things, documentation, and she's out there speaking for whatever reason, which still astonishes me because as in one post she said, oh, it happened years ago, why would they even post this video? That's right. It did happen years ago and nobody spoke about it. Why did you keep talking about it? So it's like, it's crazy that she, you know, I wish this never happened, just because it's just a mess. But more importantly, it happened because, I mean, she put herself in a position for something like that to happen by continually talking about it.
Right. Now, ProBox TV, we always make movie references here, so I'm going to reference The Godfather. Is there any chance that you both sides could have kind of a sit down here? You're willing to speak to her to get this situation resolved in a way that both sides will be happy with? Would you be willing to do that on your part?
I would let my legal counsel handle that. The reason why I don't see any reason to speak to her, uh, despite the fact that I has obviously, like I said, sent messages back and forth when she was going at me, respectfully, reminding her that she did come to my gym months after that, and I treated her very respectfully, got her a chair, sat down. She was coming to watch Demetrius Andre train, who he was having a training session in the evening at my gym. Um, Obviously, she had zero consideration for a person that she doesn't know. She didn't have any personal relationship with me, and she decided to take a flamethrower to me, or attempt to take a flamethrower to my reputation, uh, my career. She's been running around just speaking. And so I don't see a reason or a point beyond what's already been done for me to sit down and speak to this individual. Apparently, it's just my opinion. They're not very level-headed individuals. So um, I'm just going to waste my time doing that. But I'd rather let the powers that be handle that situation.
And Derik, one last question here before we let you go. First of all, once again, thank you very much for taking the time to speak out on this situation. Anything else you want to add regarding the situation to help further your cause or to just bring light to the subject?
Well, yeah, first of all, to any fighters, male, females, or anybody in the boxing community, uh, an accusation like this, slandering and libeling somebody is disgusting. It's criminal. Make sure that when you speak, you know, you're speaking the truth. I know a lot of people get caught in between trash talk, and that's part of our boxing world. I don't do that. I hate it because I always say, yeah, in the ring, everything is, the truth comes out. So I don't do it. Everybody knows that I'm not a trash talker. Um, but primarily also for the media outlets out there, have a little bit of journalistic credibility. Double check before you run. Everybody's trying to run and beat the other, and then if there's a retraction or there's found the truth, nobody pays attention to that. And these allegations, like I said, they're disgusting. And so I would like to thank everybody in the boxing community, all the fighters I worked with. I was very fortunate in my career to work with a lot of great fighters, Nate Campbell, Alan Green, Sergey Kovalev, Randall Bailey, Rances Barthélemy, fighters that I worked with, Dia Davis, Sullivan Barrera. It's been a long list. Sammy Payne. Forgive me but I don't mention your name, fighters that I worked with before, male and female. What I'm saying is they all know that I'm not that type of person. Fighters that I worked around with, many boxing executives know that, promoters, managers, advisors all sent me messages of support. And I really do appreciate that, because this situation it's crazy how you can end somebody's career in a second, or something that's completely not only baseless, but just uh, fraudulent lies.
All right, Derik, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you coming on and discussing the situation. And hopefully there's a resolution to it that works out well for you. So thank you very much for
Yeah,
your
and I
time
wish
here on
her
Top
well in her
Stories.
career. I
Yes.
wish her well in her career, but you know, that's all I can say about that. She's a world champion. I obviously had no need to be friends with her, but she's a world champion. She's a great fighter, and I wish her well in her career. But I'm going to stand up for myself and for my name.
All right, Derik Santos, thank you very much here on Top Stories, your boxing channel, or here on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. Remember, follow us on all our social media platforms and download the app where apps are available. This is Top Stories only on ProBox TV.